Hey guys, it's Bellamy here from Midnight Suns and welcome to my review for Venom: The Last Dance. So this is the third movie in the Venom franchise and it is supposedly the last one, but I'm not gonna comment too much on that because I don't want to spoil the movie. But yeah, in terms of this being the end of the Venom trilogy, I guess you could consider it that. So the story in this third movie is that Eddie Brock and Venom are now both on the run after the events of the second movie, and they are also on the run not just from the police but from the supervillain that is introduced in this movie now, who is the god of all symbiotes. And yeah, he basically sends a whole army of mutated monsters to hunt down the symbiotes on Earth, including Venom. So to start off this review, let me just say if you're not a fan of the previous two Venom movies, then you're not gonna be a fan of this movie, as simple as that. This movie is more of the first two movies, but I think on an even bigger scale. This movie is really a wacky buddy comedy road trip adventure. And yeah, it is really a big dumb movie, but it is so much fun. Like seeing Venom dance to Ebba's Dancing Queen was not on my 2024 bingo card at all. And I'm telling you, there are so many ridiculous scenes in this movie that the movie is really so over the top that I think it's actually pretty great. And the whole buddy dynamic between Venom and Eddie Brock, that's really the highlight of this movie. Tom Hardy playing both characters, yeah, it's just perfect. The perfect duo. But okay, now let's talk about the main villain in this movie that I mentioned briefly earlier. So that is Now, who is the god of symbiotes. So even though I say he's the main villain of this movie, do not expect him to have much screen time at all in this movie. So in this movie, he basically sends a bunch of alien creatures to hunt down the symbiotes on Earth, and I'm not gonna spoil why, but yeah, he's basically just hunting down all the symbiotes. And so his character is more of like a general of an army. You don't actually see the general, you just see soldiers fighting. And so even though he is more of a background character in this movie, I still consider him the main villain because his soldiers basically are like brainless, to be honest. Like they're just there to fight the symbiotes. And I know that might disappoint a lot of people because they want like a really good villain to have a lot of screen time in this movie. But let me just say, if you are a fan of Now, even though he has probably like a minute of screen time in this movie, he's portrayed so awesomely in this movie. Just his voice and his presence, when you do see him on screen for that little time, it is so dark, it is so terrifying, so intense, and yeah, if you're a Now fan, you're gonna love his portrayal in this movie. He is just shown to be such a badass and epic supervillain, and I really don't want to spoil too much, but they are basically hyping him up to be like Sony's equivalent of Thanos. So yeah, he's gonna be the future big bad of the Sony Spiderverse live-action franchise. And I think the way they introduced him in this movie was pretty much perfect. And yeah, I have a feeling that a lot of Venom fans, the movie fans, are gonna really love Now after watching this movie, and they will probably want to go back into the comics and find out more about his origins. So yeah, Sony really nailed his introduction in this movie, and let's just hope they don't drop the ball on his future appearances. And oh yeah, there are two post-credit scenes in this movie. So there's one after the first set of credits, the mid-credit scene, and then there's also another one at the very end of the credits after all the logos and everything. So that final post-credit scene, at first I thought it was just a joke scene, but after you see that final shot, I'm like, oh okay, I see where this is going. So yeah, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but just make sure you stay for both post-credit scenes. And alright, let's give this movie a final score. So I'm giving Venom: The Last Dance a 7.5 out of 10. I think if you're a fan of the first two Venom movies like me, then you're gonna really enjoy this movie. So I think this movie is better than the second Venom movie, but I'm not sure if I like it more than the first Venom movie. I think it really hinges on the character of Now. Like, if this character, if Now, in future Sony Spiderverse live-action movies, if he's portrayed really well and he becomes a big fan favorite character, then a lot of people are gonna look back on this third Venom movie and really appreciate it a lot more because of the way Now is introduced in this movie. But if they drop the ball with Now in the future, then I think the first Venom movie will be looked at a lot more favorably compared to this third movie. And yeah, at the end of the day, I think it all comes down to how Sony is gonna continue with the Venom franchise after this movie. But I am definitely excited to see what's in store for the future of this franchise. And yeah, that's all for this review, guys. If you haven't already subscribed, please do consider subscribing for more movie reviews like this here on the Midnight Suns channel. Thanks again for watching, and as always, stay gold and never fade. Bye guys.